welcome again, everyone, to our Twitter Spaces. Today we have StakeDAO with us, and we'll be learning more about their DeFi strategy aggregator platform. Yeah, and we have Hubert here, one of their core contributors, to share more about himself and also what StakeDAO does. So Hubert, if you don't mind, let's get everyone to know you a bit better. How did you get into crypto, and what is StakeDAO about?
Yes. First, thanks a lot for having me. I'm really glad to be here. Really glad to have met the Blue Jay team and to meet now the Blue Jay community. By background, I'm an engineer. I used to work in finance and investment banking, specialized in infrastructure. And then, how life is, like I happened to meet Julien Bouteloup, some car sharing, and 5 years later, he trapped me into DeFi, and now I'm in this space since the beginning of 2021, so actually quite recently. And yeah, so I joined StakeDAO then. Now I am leading the product effort on StakeDAO side. So if I can give a bit of background, basically StakeDAO it started as some kind of asset manager where anyone could get some very interesting yield over there, stablecoins or ETH or Bitcoin. And now it's a bit of a more like complex product with different stuff for different users. It's a bit of a tool for stablecoin issuers to maintain stability for their stablecoins, leveraging our power over the Curve ecosystem and the Balancer ecosystem. And yeah, by using StakeDAO, you can, in a very smart way and efficient way, manage to maintain at a limited cost liquidity pairs for stablecoins, which can be very useful for stablecoin issuers, such as BlueJay, and also we still have on the other side like this yield protocol where anyone can find the best yield in DeFi, or ideally that's the objective on the stablecoins or any tokens basically that you can find on the underlying platform we support. I don't know if this is clear and if I should pause there.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. And I guess will you guys consider yourselves much like a super app? Because when, let's say, I go on StakeDAO's dashboard, there's many things that I can do just on your dashboard alone. There's strategies, derivatives, options, staking, trading, and yeah, most recently liquid lockers. So there's much that one can do. We like to also elaborate on the different strategies available on your platform.
Yeah, so initially the idea was to be really like a one-stop shop of DeFi, but to be honest, for the last 6 months, the focus really shifted toward the liquid lockers. So I know it's not optimal right now. Like when you land on StakeDAO's landing page, you go and see all those different services, which you can still use, by the way. But now the real effort is on the liquid lockers, which is basically what I've been mentioning before, a way to get yield if you want yield, and governance power if you want governance power over the most important DeFi protocols. But yeah, for users who are interested, we still have derivative strategies, which are very successful. We still have other auto-compounded advanced strategies. We enable you to do trading. There's an aggregator to see all your portfolio and track its value over time. There are some NFTs, etc. So it's quite like a lot of stuff. But now, like today, the main focus is really on the what we call the liquid lockers. So I would invite anyone to go and take a look. It's a tricky, complex product, which is more of an infrastructure than a really, let's say, retail-oriented product. But there will be solutions to make this understandable for everyone that will come at some point. Now it's really a tool for protocols to get the most efficient solution to maintain the liquidity pairs, basically.
Nice. And yeah, I guess, as you said, we'll focus more on your liquid lockers. So you're describing it provides governance, power, at the same time, capital efficiency, or the ability to earn yield on tokens. So I guess if you don't mind explaining deeper, how does it go about doing so?
Yeah, I guess I can start by talking a bit about Curve and how it works. Because all this is coming from Curve, right? All this Curve, you can look at Curve as an exchange, like a traditional exchange, for example, like Euronext, for example, or Nice. But actually people who trade on the platform get rewarded by shares of the platform, right? That's like conceptually how it works, right? And market makers who provide liquidity on the platform can gain ownership of the platform. It's like a mutual, right? It's very interesting how it works, right? So now, once you get some shares of this exchange, you can vote on who will get the next shares, right? Shares are distributed every week, and every week you vote on who will get the shares the following week, right? And so market makers who provide liquidity on this exchange, so it can be like normal market makers or automated market makers or whatever, but conceptually it's all market makers, right? They don't go providing liquidity here solely for the trading fees or for the profits of running a market making strategies or for the bid ask or whatever, right? They come because of those shares that they would get from Curve, right? Those CRV tokens that they will get. So if you can decide who will get this inflation of CRV token, then you can decide what liquidity pair are going to be the most profitable ones. So the tool StakeDAO has designed enables StakeDAO to accumulate a lot of shares and StakeDAO users to use those CRV tokens, right, to decide on where Curve's inflation is going, what pair are going to be the most profitable, right? So basically, when you own CRV tokens or when you use StakeDAO for Curve, and it's all the same for Balancer, it's all the same for Frax, right? It works all the same. And same for Angle too, right? When you use StakeDAO, you can decide which pair are the most profitable, and if you want to incentivize your pair, you can direct a lot of money towards your liquidity pair to make sure a lot of market makers are going to provide liquidity, and also to make sure you don't have to pay people yourself to come and market make on your platform. I'm not sure if I'm 100% clear, but that's really like the broad idea.
Yeah, it's understandable. And yeah, I also pinned the tweet for your locker. So it's lockers.stakedao.org. So for those of you here who are interested, take a look at what you can do with your tokens. You mentioned Curve and Go. What other tokens do you guys adopt on your liquid lockers?
So basically, we have on one side we have the governance tokens, which really hold like the governance power and the ability to direct liquidity. So the governance tokens we have is V for Curve, Balancer. Balancer is basically like a competitor of Curve. It's another exchange, another way to incentivize providing liquidity. And then we have two stablecoin issuers. We have Frax, which is a stable USD, and we have Angle, which issues a Euro stablecoin. And we will soon have Yearn, which has many different investment strategies, including lending, including liquidity providing, etc. So it's extending to a broad ecosystem of financial services, from exchanges and market making to lending to printing money, etc. It's very interesting. And then on the other side, we have the yield strategies, which are basically where people provide liquidity, right? And for this, we have hundreds of strategies. You can look at them on local.stakedao.org, and pretty much any token can be staked there, right? And most importantly, any stable coins.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And you're mentioning how for liquid lockers you're adopting for exchanges, market makers, and even stable coins and lending protocols. So for you, I guess, say liquid lockers, do you guys go out and I guess do business development and approach these protocols? And for these protocols, which which sector do you guys focus on more? Let's say stablecoin protocols or lending or market makers?
We focus on any successful protocol, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
Basically, where we really add value is when the governance of a protocol has some value itself, right? Because we enable accessing this governance power. So we expand mainly by letting people know that they can access governance power through StakeDAO in a better way than they can anywhere else, right? That's how we expand the locker base. And on the other side, on the strategy base, we expand by simply mentioning to people that we have good yields, sustainable, and that, I mean, it's the same kind of yield mechanic as convex, for example, but given different level of a staked CRV, it can be like smart to allocate a portion on convex, portion on staked. Yield marketing is a bit different, right? But then for like purely the services we look at, we have 2 exchanges, 2 stablecoin issuers. So I would really love to see a lender coming. Yarn is providing some lending opportunities, but like a proper lending protocol, such as, I don't know, like Euler, for example, or Silo, or whatever, like a lending protocol with V tokenomics would be amazing. So I'm really hoping we see that one day.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So we know what to look out for when you guys adopt the next protocol for liquid lockers. And I guess next question I have is for, let's say, liquid lockers and also your use strategies. Since you guys are value adding to these governance tokens and also providing an aggregation of use strategies, what's the cut that StakeDAO takes for, let's say, if I as a user provides my liquidity, what percent is like fees that goes to StakeDAO, and I guess does StakeDAO distribute that to its governance token holders as well?
So basically, the way it works is we have, for example, if we look at curve strategies, right? We have, through our locker, we have 24 million curve locked, right? Those curve give governance power, but they don't only give governance power. They also provide a boost on any pool on curve, right? So if you want to provide liquidity to, I don't know, like any stablecoin pair, right? I don't know, ETH and Status, or 3 pool, DAI, USDC, USDT, or anything. You can go on StakeDAO, you can go on Curve, and you would get, let's say, for example, 1%. Or you can go on StakeDAO, which will have the 2.5x boost thanks to its CRV holding. And so you will get 2.5%. But StakeDAO will take a 15% cut, right? So you will get actually a bit less, like 2.4, 2.3%. But it's still more interesting than going directly on Curve, right? And the 15% fee cut is basically 10% is going, it's actually 8% going to the people who lock CRV tokens, 5% for people who lock SDT tokens, so the token of StakeDAO, 2% for the treasury, and 1% for the harvester. So the people who manage the strategy. Because all strategy management, etc., is decentralized. So any recurring action that happens on the DAO occurs a small management fee for the people who calls the function. And that's how we decentralize the full process.
Yeah, that's lovely. And on the point of decentralization, can you also share with us more regarding your SDT governance token?
Yes, it's a great question. We are trying to decentralize as much as possible the governance of StakeDAO, right? As even in the name, it's a DAO, right? So we launched the SDT at the beginning of the year, which is a new way to approach governance, where users need to lock StakeDAO tokens to gain the StakeDAO governance power, and they lock it for a certain number of years, up to 4 years, for example, and then With this, they can vote on SDT emissions. They can obviously get a boost on their voting powers on Curve, on other protocols, a boost on their yield, and they can vote on StakeDAO governance proposals. And those governance proposals are going to be more and more on-chain. We have already put some kind of proposal which are fully on-chain. It's not easy to do it for any kind of proposals, but it's something that we are working on. And yes, I truly believe that to be truly decentralized, you actually need to have on-chain governance ruling and getting the governance keys of each contract and of the protocol. I don't know if this answers your question.
Yeah, it does. And there's also like a real you aspect to this where, like earlier on, you did mention part of the protocol's revenue does go to the SDT holders. For that, for them to receive, let's say, the revenue, do they have to stake the token or how does it work?
And they just need to lock it. So it's a bit painful, of course. You need to abandon the right to sell it for a certain amount of period, for a certain period. But the longer you lock it, the better your share of the revenues of the protocol. It's also like from a regulatory standpoint, it's also a way to make sure StakeDAO token is not like a regulated financial instrument. It's a governance token. While you have the governance power, your token has no value because you cannot transfer it, and the token that you can transfer has no actual value. It's not earning any yield, any kind of dividend or whatever. It's not providing governance power. So you need to lock it and abandon the right to sell it to be able to have that, right? So I think this is quite important from a regulatory standpoint.
Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, that's especially when, let's say today, MAS, Singapore's Monetary Authority, also put out more information regarding regulations around crypto. I think it's good what you guys are doing to ensure you circumvent that and make sure it's purely a governance token and nothing more than that. It's not a security. Yeah. And yeah, I guess next question I have is, I also understand early on you did mention you guys have NFTs. How does that tie into the whole StakeDAO dashboard and ecosystem?
The legacy tool that we had to loyal users. Before we had VSDT, we used to have what we call XSDT, so it's staked SDT, which was holding the voting power and also getting the fees. But the longer you got it, the more you accumulated points, and with a certain number of points, you could mint NFTs. And those NFTs were used as financial instruments, like enabling you to access certain premium strategies, for example, giving you additional boost on all your different deposits on the protocol, and yeah, plenty of other possibilities. But since we launched the VSDT and since the use cases for SDT really increased, we haven't issued any NFT since then.
Okay, so it was much, I guess, a way to create loyalty or reward loyalty earlier on before the governance token is out. And yeah, just I guess out of my own curiosity, how was the effect of using NFTs for a DeFi protocol? Does it actually build on loyalty? Do people actually work hard to earn those points and then earn those NFTs to, I guess, access more of your business on the dashboard?
Yes. People went crazy about that. And it was good. The NFTs were providing good value, to be honest. So it was normal. People went crazy, but actually it wasn't crazy. It clever financial decisions. And some people who didn't have the points to mint one, they actually bought them on the secondary market, and it was trading at a decent price. Also, like the artwork of those NFTs is really cool. I mean, you can see my profile picture on Twitter is one of them.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It's pretty nice. Always about elephants and like dark stuff, right?
Yeah, interesting. Okay, but that is totally, I guess now it's focusing on SDT now, so NFTs are put aside. But yeah, we're curious because I guess we have seen other protocols adopting NFTs as a way to, I guess, reward loyalty and also provide access to more use strategies or access more
It's a bit
benefits
like
on the protocol.
it's a bit. It's not like the NFTs are not really put aside, but it's more like a shift of business model from a retail platform towards an infrastructure layer, where the objective is to get other protocols to build on top of us and to get like smart money, smart investors to use our infrastructure to get leverage over DeFi. So it's kind of like different targets than what made sense before for the NFTs, right?
Yeah, so previously it was more of like retail investors, and now it's a lot more institutions, DAOs, using your platform to use the liquid lockers for their governance tokens to incentivize more, I guess, yield and etc.
Exactly.
Okay, great. And yeah, you also touched on how you guys adopted Angle and Frex for your liquid lockers. Out of curiosity as well, can you let us know, let's say, compared to the other governance tokens, is there more adoption or use, I guess, TVL for those stable coins in your liquid lockers?
Yes, the Angle liquid locker is working very well. We have, I don't know, like just below 50% of the Angle supply. We have a decent TVL on the Angle strategies, and we are providing a lot of liquidity thanks to that. On Frax, there's a little bit of competition, which makes it a bit more complicated, but it's going to come. Not worried about that. And yeah, these V tokenomics that Frax and Angle have adopted is really, it sounds like not of a big deal, but actually it's, if you look at the ecosystem, there are not many stablecoins that manage to really succeed. And these tokenomics, especially for Frax, where there is some uncollateralized share of those of the Frax stablecoin, having this locking mechanism is really a key to the success of the protocol, right?
Yeah, and yeah, we look up the Frex as well and definitely hope to be as successful as them as time to come.
I'm sure you will
And
be. Sure you will be.
thank you, Hubert. And yeah, we did do Twitter Spaces with them I think last week or the week before. So yeah, that was interesting as well as we discuss more on the state of stablecoins at the moment. And yeah, on that note, for you, how do you feel about, I guess, DeFi in general for the next 1 to 3 years, and also stablecoins in terms of crypto adoption? Do you think stablecoins will come to be, I guess, a huge use case in crypto and DeFi and bridging the real world into this like crypto?
I think, like any business, right, you need to have what we call in finance natural hedge, right? So you need to have your revenues in the same currency as your costs, right? So if all your life costs are in traditional currencies, it's very difficult to live with like different currencies which are quite volatile, such as Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? So I think the time where one would believe we would get rid of traditional currencies and just use Bitcoin to buy cafe or coffees or whatever, it's a bit over now, I think. But I might be wrong. But I think stable coins, and especially stable USD, is like the base for.
Wait, Hubert, I think you might have cut off. Wait, Hubert, if you don't mind, can you, I guess, mute and unmute again? Because I guess you might have cut off for a bit there. Okay, sorry guys, give us a moment. Let me try to get him back on. Hubert, can you try speaking again? Okay, give us a moment. This happens at least once a week, man. This Twitter is just amazing. Love the product. Yeah, in the meantime, I guess I would like to share more on, I guess, Blue Jay as well. So Hubert did mention that, yeah, I guess it's not normal or for the typical majority of the population to use Ethereum and Bitcoin for transacting in, let's say, day-to-day necessities like coffee, like he mentioned. So yeah, I guess that's where stablecoins really come in. USD has really been the majority for stablecoins, and I guess for further adoption to come along, for real-world use cases to come along, non-USD stables really have to rise in,
Exactly.
let's say, market cap. Yes. Yeah. Hi,
Sorry,
Hubert. You're
sorry.
back.
I don't know where I left you. I think you got
Oh,
all of it.
it's fine.
What I was
Uh,
saying is that I'm not so bullish on the traditional world myself. Obviously, no financial advice, blah blah blah. But I think the fact that most currencies in the world are printed out of thin air is makes it very tricky to stand for one currency against another one. So I think this makes a lot of sense to have. This makes a good case to have various currencies in DeFi, right? Because for example, the Swiss franc is much more like supposed to be much more solid than even the dollar or obviously the euro, etc. So why would we have to be stuck with the dollars, right? And then want to play, as I said earlier, right? If your costs are in one currencies, you want to have your revenues in one currency too, right? So I think what you guys are doing at BlueJay has a lot of positive perspective in the future, bringing solutions to have stablecoins of many different currencies across the world is going to be, it's a major challenge for tomorrow, but it should be very successful.
Yeah, I think it is a huge challenge indeed, especially let's say for Southeast Asia, where it's rather fragmented in terms of the number of countries and how each country has different regulations. But it is a problem that needs to be dealt with, and yeah, I'm glad we are the ones to be working on this problem as well. There is already huge crypto adoption in, let's say, Vietnam and Philippines. It's just a matter of moving them from the initial GameFi and NFT transactions and get them to use crypto and stablecoins for more of their day-to-day transactions, be it, let's say, transacting with merchants or more towards cross-border payments and remittances where stablecoins are really much more efficient and cheaper. And yeah, that's a huge use case which our stablecoins being adopted for in time to come. Yeah, thanks,
Also,
Hugh. Yeah, go on.
I think that the surging inflation that we see across the world, I think world inflation was above 10% this year. So some currencies will fall. Some already have fallen, right? Which makes crazy good case for having access to other currencies. I was looking earlier today at a picture of $1 in Bolivar, Chilean Bolivar, right? It's like nearly one square one square meter of bills, right? And you get the same in Argentina, in Lebanon, in many countries. And I'm pretty confident that crypto and DeFi could bring a decent solution for those countries and people who live in those countries to not fall into misery. So it's actually quite of a humanitarian job to bring decent currencies to those people.
Yeah, crypto really does, I guess, provide easier access to overseas currency so that they can avoid the inflation in their own currencies, which for some of them really are quite crazy. Like you were mentioning the how to say. Yeah, I understand what you mean. When I look at the FX charts, it's literally just almost like a 90-degree angle when you look at a year-to-year basis. And that's crazy if you live in those countries, because a year ago you maybe could be buying a bottle of milk for X amount of dollars, then the next year maybe you need 3x dollars for that same bottle of milk. Yeah, so if crypto can provide, I guess, access to various currencies just through internet connection and a mobile phone, that's really amazing.
Mm-mm.
And yeah, Hubert, I was saying, where do you see crypto and DeFi going for the next 1 to 3 years? I guess that's also, and we can also talk about where StakeDAO is developing themselves towards. Maybe besides liquid lockers, what else are you guys doing? And yeah, your general overview of crypto.
Sincerely, it's very hard to answer this question. I don't know how long will last the bear market. I think we haven't seen the beginning of the traditional finance crisis that is brewing. So I don't know if it will be in 1 year, in 3 years, whatever. So sincerely, it's very difficult to answer. But I think what we've seen even since the beginning of the bear, or that protocols have kept shipping, delivering good solutions. There was a lot of work on the infrastructure side. We see many more use cases, etc. So, like a lot of good either blockchains or layer 2s or roll-ups or whatever are developing, and I think this would create like huge cases for pushing more DeFi adoption. Also, like the merge, I don't think we have seen yet the effects of the merge, but a lot of people will be able to run validations on ETH, which is going to be massive, to be honest. Like everybody will be able to take part in the governance of Ethereum, which will be very interesting too. And yes, with that, long term, I think fees will go probably in a more affordable direction, which will lead to more adoption, etc. I think long term, all crypto markets are highly correlated to traditional markets due to the fact that a lot of the money in this market are coming from institutional funds, right? So they are basically disappearing as soon as interest rate hikes, right? But long term, having like this kind of wake up, central banks are acting like apes, doing stupid stuff. You need to take control over your currency. This is like a message that should echo much better in a world where we see the effect of bad monetary policies. So I am pretty optimistic about the long-term future of crypto and DeFi. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, thanks for sharing with us. I understand it's hard to project, but yeah, just I guess glad to hear your views on that. And yeah, for I guess the floor, if you guys have any questions, you guys can kindly request to speak, or if you're shy, you guys can just press the tweet button on the bottom right hand corner and just type to us your questions. Yeah, we'll give you about a minute to do that. In the meantime, you guys can explore more of what StakeDAO has to offer at stakedao.org. And for BlueJ, we are 2 days away from our whitelist. What's that? Yeah, our whitelist process will be ending soon in 2 days, and we'll be launching our token in 7 days. So for those of you interested in taking a look at I guess if you're interested to understand Blue better, I've already pinned the tweet. You can take a look. There's a Medium article there for you to learn more about our governance token, and also for you to check your whitelist at bluej.finance/whitelist. And yeah, if you're interested to get a whitelist, actually just listening to this spaces, you would. And do have an oath for this spaces which you can collect after listening and carrying out some other actions. I've pinned that tweet as well. And yeah, if anyone has any questions. Okay. If not, thanks a lot for your time, Hubert. That's a practice around like 40 minutes. And yeah, I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, and evening.
Thanks a lot.
And
Thanks a lot.
yeah, thanks for your time.
It was a pleasure to be there. Thanks again, and yeah, I wish you all the best. Good luck for this whitelist event which is always like a bit of a like crazy days, and hopefully it turns out very well.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Hubert. The team would really appreciate those kind words you just said. And we'll share more with regards to how we are auto whitelisting for StakeDT holders as well later on. But yeah, thanks again, Hubert, for your time. Thanks for your kind words. And we definitely hope our launch is successful as well. And thank you all for listening in, and have a good morning, afternoon, or night.
A question now from Polaris? No, I'm not sure.
Oh, no, he's just putting out love.
That's nice.
Yeah, all's good. Thank you,
Okay.
Polaris.
Okay,
Hubert,
guys.
take care.